I always say that the moment you stop learning is when the journey ends.
Yeah.
Initiative is the real currency of growth. If someone else has been able to succeed in this path, then why can't you?
You. So this podcast is to help you to have clarity. And if you don't know me, my name is Ade Oluwayemi. I'm a career transition coach. And today I have somebody joining me on this episode. His name is Tersoo. Um, Tersoo is a seasoned professional with a rich background in construction, architecture, and project management. He has experience spanning multiple industry and he has built a strong reputation for excellence and resilience. Having navigated multiple career transitions himself, he brings first-hand insight into challenges of choosing the right path. He's passionate about mentoring and empowering others and is dedicated to guiding individuals towards fulfilling their journey. Thank you for joining me today. You can also introduce yourself.
Oh, thank you so much, Ade. Thank you so much for this opportunity and thank you for reaching out. My name, as Ade has said, is Teso Itiavia, and I'm a construction project manager. And I've trained to be an architect. And today I have the privilege of running a design and build firm, which is called Taste Design. And we also provide services across Alberta, Manitoba, and British Columbia, and hopefully the rest of Canada eventually, and perhaps the world. So that's me. I'm also a residential and commercial inspector, and that's that's it for my profession. As a family man, I'm married to only one wife, and I'm
Good.
also privileged to have two wonderful kids, Joshua and Abigail. And when I'm not doing my work, I'm spending time with them. So that's me. So once again, thank you, Eddie, for having me on this show. Thank you for allowing me to share my experience on this platform, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you for doing this with me, and I'm so glad you are here to answer my call and be on the show.
Yes,
That is
indeed.
so
Yes,
good.
indeed. Yeah.
Yeah. When you were introducing yourself, you mentioned so many careers. You said you started off as an architect, then you also have project management experience. You are also into designs and whatnot. So how do you navigate all these careers that you have mentioned?
All right. So thank you so much for asking that question. My path is very unconventional. And as you mentioned, I started off with architecture. I had no intent of, becoming a construction project manager, but somewhere along the line, I found myself delving into that space.
Yeah.
Um, I started off as uh, I completed my first degree, and then I wanted to spend my time just focusing on design,
Mm.
but it didn't happen.
Mhm.
Basically, I became curious. I
Okay.
was in the studio doing designs and
Mm.
whatnot,
Yeah.
and eventually I began to wonder how all these design ideas became reality,
Okay.
became, buildings and whatnot.
Yeah.
So at some point, I decided that, it'd be good to visit these sites, and I had received numerous invitations to go to site and see what's going on and whatnot, and eventually, um, I I went to site
Mm.
and I was blown away by the amount of detail
Mm.
that took place outside of the studio,
Yeah.
which was in terms of looking at how the trades got involved, people like the electricians, the plumbers, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers,
Mm.
and people like that,
Yeah.
and I saw how they came together to just make this work. And I realized that constructing a building was far beyond architecture. It was
Mm.
much more.
Yeah.
It was actually project management.
Okay.
And I saw an individual having to manage all these people's expectations. I told myself, I want to be that
That
guy.
person.
I want to be that construction project manager. And eventually, I found myself in that place. It
Okay.
wasn't a straight road. It wasn't
Mm.
an easy path. And as you mentioned before, I've delved into different roles and
Yeah.
whatnot, and found myself in construction project management. But the good thing about it is that all those experiences come together and have made my own experience very rich.
Mm.
And if you read my book, I'm a bit transparent of the experiences that I've had,
Yeah.
and yeah, not to say that our journey is ended. The journey is still my journey is still unfolding,
Yeah.
and right now, as we speak, our firm provides construction project management and
Mm.
also owner representation services.
Okay.
And this is based on the skills we've honed in on and are able to provide, which is creating
Yeah.
impact to the community
Yeah.
and whatnot. So, to answer your question, no, I didn't just, I just didn't just stumble on project
Project
management.
management.
I went through a series of hoops to find myself here, and I have no regrets. And I think curiosity and courage has brought me to this point.
Yeah. Mm.
And my hope is that people who read the book will be able to find courage and be curious so that they can find a path for themselves
Yeah.
in whatever industry it is.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing
Yeah.
that. And I know so many people too might be wondering, like you've explained how you started off as an architect, then you transition. Are there skills that were transferable from all the previous experience you had before deciding to go into construction project management? Are there skills that were easily transferred to project management?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think that at the end of the day, uh, project management in itself, when you're looking at it from a general perspective, has so many skills that
Mm.
are transferable from other professions.
Yeah.
And for architecture, architecture in itself is project management. When
Mm.
you're undertaking a design project from beginning to end,
Yeah.
you begin with the end in mind. You plan exactly where your spaces are going to be. You plan your scheduling, how you're going to work on your schematic design, and
Mm.
then how you evolve into the detailed design
Yeah.
and whatnot. And that is a process.
Okay.
And that in itself is planning, that is project management. So
Mhm.
having to transition or to get involved in project management wasn't challenging for me
Mm.
because some of those skills I already had.
Yeah, okay.
And project management, to be honest, is a profession that is more or less a daily uh, task, uh,
Mm.
if I can put it that way. It's a daily way of life
Exactly.
because there's so many things that you do that is project management, but we just don't see it as that.
Mm. Yeah.
So for me, there were so many transferable skills from architecture to project
So
management.
project
So
management.
yeah,
That's yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that. What is one challenge in your career journey that ended up shaping your entire perspective?
bro.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking that question. Obviously, um, lack of mentorship.
Mm.
A lack of mentorship. I think early on in my career, I didn't have the privilege of having someone to ask questions to.
Mm.
And after my first degree, I was, as I said before, I was in the design space, and I wanted a situation where I was able to, just progress.
Mm.
Um, I ended up working in the space of project management right from the early days, but um, it was tough.
Mm.
You know, I, I did design work and I did project management at the same time. So my life was torn between design and project
Projects. Yeah.
management. And I found myself somewhere in England and providing project management services. But it was tough.
Mm.
It was tough because there was no one to ask questions to.
Yeah.
And I needed to figure out a lot on my own. There was so much trial and error, and I stumbled several times.
Mm.
And sometimes I didn't want to look like I was inexperienced, which
Yeah.
prevented and inhibited me from asking the questions. But looking now in hindsight, I realized that I should have made more effort trying to
Mm.
get information and whatnot, and that is something I did not do. Um, I know fully well that being in project management at the time was challenging for me, not just because of the fact that I was fresh off the boat,
Yeah.
but also because of the personality that I had.
Okay.
I didn't want to ask questions.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like, it was right for me to, expose myself that
Mm.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
But something that was initially a weakness became a
And
strength
strength.
later
Yeah.
on,
Yeah.
which was right now, if there's anything that I know I can get from you as
Mm.
insight, anything that I know I can learn from you, I'll ask, and I'm
Yeah.
not ashamed about it because
Mm.
I know fully well that we don't know everything, and being able to declare that you don't know makes
Mm.
a huge
This is true.
difference. So that inspired me to write a book. It inspired me to you know be the professional that I am today.
Yeah.
It shaped me in a sense, and
Yeah.
I'm thankful that I had those experiences.
Mm. I know so many people always struggle with that, asking for help. And sometimes we feel that maybe if I ask for help, it shows that I'm weak, or maybe it shows that I don't know anything. But there are people out there that they are willing to help. That is why I like when I talk to people, I tell them that try to connect with people, reach out to people, at least try. If they now say no, it's not possible for you to ask maybe 10, 20 people and 20 of them will say they will
Yeah,
say
that's true.
no.
That's true.
So just like reach out to people. Now there's social media, there's LinkedIn, there's Facebook. You can search for people in the industry you are trying to look
That's
out
true.
for, even if it's maybe following their content. There are so many content creators that might be project managers, whatever role that you are looking into, and follow them, read their content, get insights with them. You might not be able to have one-on-one mentorship. Maybe for you to have one-on-one mentorship, they might require you to pay some money or whatnot.
Oh yeah.
But at least you can gain from them indirectly. Yeah. So I like that talking about mentorship, reaching out to people. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good one.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And just to add to what you just said, right now as I speak, even though people might think that I've come to the point where I don't need mentorship or
Mm,
that kind of thing, I still do. Wherever
yeah.
you are, you still need mentorship, and it's easier to get mentors now than it was like 10,
Like
15
before.
years ago.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
as I am right now, even though I run a firm, I have about five mentors, people
Yeah.
who I reach out to on a regular
Yeah,
basis.
because you can't know everything, right? If you can be an expert in project
Yeah.
management, but you are
Yeah.
not an expert, maybe
Yeah.
content creation, for example.
Oh yeah.
So you might have a mentor for
Mhm.
content creation, you might have a mentor for another subject, maybe
Mhm.
for accounting or
Oh, of course.
whatever it is.
Of
So you
course.
cannot be jack of all trades.
Trades. No,
Yeah,
no, I totally
exactly.
agree.
And at the end of the day, you'll be master of none. So mentorship is really, really key. No matter the level someone is,
That's
you
true.
just have to have that mentorship.
Completely. No, I totally agree.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you're talking about your book. I know you've written a book called Your Career Path. What moment or experience made you say that I need to write this?
Hmm. Yeah. Um, yeah, that is a great question, Ade, and obviously that is the reason why we're
Yeah.
we're here.
Yeah.
Yes, that is the reason.
Mhm.
So, um, as you know, I
Mm.
moved from Winnipeg,
Yeah.
and I was responsible for a certain number of youth while I was there. I was a young adult leader.
Mm.
That experience helped me a great deal. I was dealing with, teenagers, people in their early 20s and whatnot, and
Mm.
just being able to, give them guidance and hearing their stories was
Mm.
really, really interesting.
Yeah.
And it helped me as an individual to
Mm.
really grow and
Yeah.
become who I am today.
Mm.
Um, but one incident that really stood out for me was a young man who just arrived in Winnipeg, and he happened to be in the same industry as I was,
Okay.
and he needed some help.
Mm.
He needed some guidance, and he was asking so many questions.
Yeah.
How many years do I need of experience? Do I need to get this role? Do I need to be certified? Um, is this the right role? Could I do something else?
Mm.
And all those questions being asked were very intriguing to me.
Yeah.
And as I saw him speak, his curiosity and whatnot, it just reminded me of myself
When you
a few
started,
years ago.
yeah.
Yeah, when I really wanted to find out more, get more information about what I needed to do and whatnot, and just having that conversation with him was really interesting because he was very appreciative
Mm.
of the information that I was giving him,
Mm.
and for me, it felt so fulfilling.
Yeah.
I remember one of the statements he made, which was, "Wow, I never knew that."
Mm.
And as simple as that sounds, for me, that was a light bulb moment.
Mm.
Why? Because I felt like whatever information I was providing him,
Mm.
the feeling I was giving him by just having that conversation,
Mm.
what if I did the same for someone else?
Yeah.
And so it was in that moment I decided that, I would bring all these experiences together
Together.
and then present it to the world.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I wrote it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is good.
Mm.
That is good. Just make doing like helping the world one step at a time. You started with one person, and now definitely you cannot go like mentoring this person, mentoring, but with your book, so many people can have the opportunity to read it at once and get that mentorship. So like it still boils down to what we were saying before, that mentorship does not have to be like you sitting down one on one with
Yeah.
somebody. It can be like for your example now, reading your book, and they will be able to gain what you have, maybe what took you like 15 years, they are reading it in few hours, and they are
Yeah.
learning from your experience. So that is a good one. Yeah. Also, in your book, your career path, you mentioned that um, feeling lost or stuck. You are talking about people feeling lost and stuck, which is something many job seekers can relate to, because everybody is looking for, okay, what's next? Some people might even have a job and they are trying to look for maybe a better pay, or somewhere where they can find that work-life balance. Maybe their work is so stressful or whatnot. What practical advice will you give people in that space?
So, one thing that is not discussed so much in the workplace is, that feeling of being lost, that
Mm,
feeling of being stuck.
yeah.
It doesn't happen. Most people just leave it within their minds and they just hold it, bottled it in.
Mm,
And that is not the way to go. And recently I was looking at, some research, and I realized that mental health is becoming better for men,
mm,
because for a long time there are many things that happen in a man's life and they just keep it in. They don't really
yeah.
share that.
Mm.
But right now they're talking about it.
People are speaking up.
They're
Yeah.
talking about it, and that's an indication that things are changing.
Mm,
One thing I've noticed is that feeling stuck and lost is not limited to high school graduates or university graduates or mid-career professionals.
mm,
Even those who are well established, I've felt unstuck. I mean, stuck many, many times,
mm,
and I'm still in that place. Obviously, I'm still on my journey,
yeah.
but I feel stuck sometimes. I feel lost,
Mm,
and it might surprise you to know people who are well up the ladder, but still feel the same way.
exactly.
And the truth is that we can change that. The fact
Okay.
that you feel stuck or lost doesn't mean that you're broken or
That is
anything
the end
else.
of the road.
You
Yeah.
know, it just means that perhaps maybe you need a shift. Maybe you need to change what you're doing.
Mm,
And somewhere in my book, I talk about embracing change,
mm,
being able to look beyond the moment and see what you can do to make things better for
mm,
you
yeah.
and your journey.
Yeah.
You know, and a few things that I like to highlight is the fact that, first of all, you can start small. If you're starting off project management, or if you're mid-career and you feel stuck and whatnot, you can start small. Take on a new project on the side, and that will provide clarity for you. And it
Mm,
gives you the opportunity to make changes if
yeah.
you so desire.
Yeah.
The second thing that I bring to the attention in the book is also the fact that pay attention to energy, pay attention to your intuition.
Mm,
If there's something that lights you up, perhaps maybe it's something that you can explore.
mm,
Maybe it could lead to like an open door, and
mm,
the rest from there could be history. You
yeah.
never know, but you need to pay attention to your feelings and
Mm,
what interests you and whatnot. And finally, redefining progress.
mm,
Many of people think that when it's down to the corporate world and whatnot, progress is only vertical,
mm,
but it could be diagonal, it could be lateral and whatnot.
yeah.
There's this famous saying by Martin Luther King Jr., which is, if you can't run, walk.
Yeah.
And if you can't walk,
Crawl.
crawl.
Yeah.
But no matter what you do,
Move.
keep on
Yeah.
walking. And the truth there lies is, if by any chance you happen to be in a position where you feel lost and whatnot, as long as you're making efforts towards changing your situation
Yeah.
day by day, pacing yourself,
Mm,
you will eventually find yourself in the right place.
yeah. Thank you for sharing that. There's something when you were talking, you mentioned something that when you are feeling stuck, try to, I would call it, test the waters. For example, if you are in one career and you feel that, oh, I'm passionate about managing projects,
Yeah.
you can take on side projects. There are
Yeah.
so many platforms right now where you can do freelancing,
True.
take on maybe a contract role while you are still holding your job, trying to test the water and see if this is actually a good fit for me
Yeah.
before you dive in. I think so many people make that mistake and they just dive in without really thinking about it. Maybe,
Yeah.
oh, I had that Tersoo is
Yeah.
making
Yeah. Oh yeah.
$300,000.
Oh
I
yeah.
also want to go into project management
Yeah.
without looking at their strengths. Yeah.
True.
So, and when they now jump into it, they'll be like, oh, this is not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also another thing you mentioned is follow your intuition. Like, look at your strengths. What are the things that I'm good at? What are the things that I'm passionate about? And try to look at those passion and look for career paths that can bring out that
Yeah.
passion in you. Because
True.
sometimes for some people, it's not about the money. They are just not feeling what they are doing. They are just stuck in there.
Yeah. That's true.
So
That's true.
just follow, just not just diving into it. Try it a little.
Yeah.
Take on side gigs, take on side projects to see that, okay, is this something that I can do? Is this something I can fall into before you now
True.
totally dive
Immerse
into
it.
it
Yeah.
100%? Yeah.
No, no. I totally agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think that's spot on, and I think the more people that can key into this and take this as gospel, the better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Is there a story or an example from the book that's really moved you while you were writing the book?
Yeah. One story that I particularly like is the story of Mark. If you get to read the book, there are a few testimonies in there,
Hmm.
one including mine,
Okay.
and basically it touches on people's experiences
Hmm.
because you'll be surprised to know that the experience that you've had is similar to 100 other people
Yeah.
outside there,
Yeah.
and we had the privilege of getting information from a few folks, and one that stood out for me was Mark. Mark was was a school graduate, and he was not your typical uh, student.
Hmm.
He didn't have very good grades.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't top of the class.
Hmm.
He wasn't particularly loved by the teachers,
Yeah.
but there are parts of Mark's story that mirror my own journey,
Hmm.
which is why I particularly took a liking to his.
Hmm.
And for him, he was written off. Uh, People felt like maybe he might not be a success. He might not turn out well.
Hmm.
And at some point, what he did was he decided to take initiative and assess his skills.
Hmm.
So he took the Holland Code assessment,
Hmm.
and that's an assessment which looks at career interests and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff
Yeah.
and whatnot. And for him, he had been told that there were certain parts of him that didn't exist,
Hmm.
but somehow he felt that he had those qualities,
Hmm.
and that assessment actually confirmed that.
Hmm.
And what he did was he used that as impetus to move forward.
Hmm.
Not to say that an assessment tool should define who you are,
Hmm.
but for him, that was all that he needed to take him to the next level.
Yeah.
And what he did was he went and enrolled in a course which he thought was right for him, and he excelled.
Hmm.
He volunteered.
Hmm.
And as simple as that might sound, for me, that is a success story. Why?
Yeah.
Because he was able to stand above limiting beliefs. He
Hmm.
was able to look past the things that were being said about him, the things that culture made him feel he couldn't do.
Yes. Yeah.
And he was able to volunteer, he was able to get a degree and whatnot, and he's
Hmm.
still on a journey.
Hmm.
But for me, that's a moving story because many times we stop ourselves from accomplishing our goals and
Hmm.
objectives because of the words of people or because
Yeah.
of cultural society
Exactly.
influences and whatnot, and it
Yeah.
shouldn't be the case.
Hmm.
So this book tries to let people know that we need to look past that.
Yeah.
We need to look within
Hmm.
to find the energy and the impetus to move forward.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I like that. Sometimes, like you said, sometimes you will just feel that what will people say, and actually people are not saying anything.
Yeah,
People people are not even looking
yeah,
at you.
it's true. It's
But
true.
before you make the decision, you'll be like, if I do this thing, what are people going? And they don't even notice you. There are so many people in the world. Even if they are noticing you, they will, maybe if they talk about it today, tomorrow, they forget about it and move on to another person. Someone else will have done another thing and they will
Yeah.
move on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just need to build that confidence in us. If we can build that confidence in us, we can achieve, the sky
So
is the
much.
limit. We can achieve so much. And sometimes the obstacle can even be ourselves.
Mhm.
Like you are not confident in yourself. You feel like, oh, I don't know how to do this thing. What if the mark that you use as an example now would be like, oh, this is what has been written about me. I can't amount to nothing. I don't understand this. I don't understand that. But he went that extra mile. And with the research he did and he understood himself, he had to boost his confidence and say, okay, I need to get this thing. And
Yeah.
he got that.
Yeah.
Sometimes we need to push ourselves.
Yeah.
We don't have to look at what will people say.
Yeah.
People might talk fine,
Mhm.
but sometimes they might not talk. It might just be in your head.
That's true. I think being able to draw the line between what is being said and what is actually true will
Exactly.
make a huge difference, because sometimes when people are speaking, we need to pay attention,
Mm.
because they might be saying things that are actually true of us, but it's down to us to be able to determine for ourselves
If
the
you want
path that
to
we want to
accept
follow. Yeah,
it or
exactly.
not, yeah.
And move on. But at the end of the day, positivity, being
Mm.
optimistic about your future and where you want to end up should be the criterion
Yeah,
for evaluating what is being said.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So, if any of our listener could take something away from, like, take away one mindset shift from this book, what will it be?
Yes. This book focuses mainly on improvement.
Yeah.
Uh, we look at a career as not a ladder, but a landscape,
Mm.
opportunity to go beyond what we know to be true,
Mm.
which is consistently moving forward.
Yeah.
And one mindset that has made a huge difference for me is that ability to grow.
Mm.
I talk in my book about the roles that I've experienced, the jobs,
Mm.
decisions I've made,
Yeah.
and whatnot. And one thing that really inhibited me from progress was fear of the unknown,
Mm.
fear of not taking decisions,
Yeah.
fear of not being in a position to be vulnerable
Mm.
and to declare to the world that I don't know,
Yeah.
and that caused some problems. But at the end of the day, I was able to understand what the responsibility is for someone who is working or
Mm.
who is just taking off, someone who's fresh off the boat.
Yeah.
You need to be in a position to receive,
Mm.
and that those experiences helped me a great deal to know that for the rest of my life, for the rest of my career, we need to be in a position where we are exploring.
Mm.
We're exploring the landscape. The reason why I
Yeah.
use a ladder and landscape is because if you're climbing a ladder, there's an end to it. But
Mm.
the landscape, there's so much
No
land
limits. Yeah.
you can explore.
Mm.
And the question right now is, are you willing to explore?
Mm.
And if you are, you definitely will find yourself in the right
So,
place.
yeah.
In today's age where there's artificial intelligence
Mm.
and technological advancements here and
Mm.
there,
Yeah.
we have no reason not to get involved.
Mm.
One would say that, oh, it's easier to learn today than it was 10,
Before.
15 years
Yeah.
ago. But that is the more reason why we need to make an effort to
Mm.
learn more,
Mm.
because if we don't, we will be left behind. There's
Yeah.
so many industries, so many things that are popping out, and if we don't pay attention to the times, uh, we won't see ourselves going very far. You
Yeah.
know,
Mm.
I always say that the moment you stop learning is when the journey ends.
Yeah.
In today's age and time, learning growth is not just helpful, but it's essential. You know,
Mm.
it has become mandatory
Yeah.
to learn each and every day.
Mm.
And I hope that this book communicates that to all who read.
Mm. Yeah. I like one thing you said, that the career is not a ladder, is a landscape. That really stuck with me, because yeah,
Yeah.
definitely the ladder will get to the limit where you can't go higher again. But if it's a landscape, it continues and
Yeah.
continues and
Oh yeah.
continues.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So much space.
Yeah.
So much space to explore.
Exactly.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Yeah. So what advice will you give someone trying to break into project management?
Yes. At this moment in time, one thing I know for sure is that you need to be vulnerable.
Mm,
And I had touched on that a little bit in some of the questions you've asked already. I'll give you an example. When I first started my journey as a project manager in the southwest of England, I had some challenges.
mm,
I had some challenges because I was afraid of coming forward to let people know that I didn't know. I was
mm.
afraid of, being looked at as incompetent. I was afraid of, just showing people that there was a gap.
Yeah, maybe imposter syndrome, right?
Exactly. And at the end of the day, that sort of caused me to delay.
Mm,
There was a delay. There was a delay in progress, in my progression and whatnot. And I learned from that experience. And I think that for people who want to take this on as a profession, they need to understand that in order for them to move forward, they need to volunteer themselves.
mm.
They need to put themselves forward.
Out there, yeah.
You know, one thing I always say is that initiative is the real currency of growth
Mm,
in the area of project management.
yeah.
So, in order for them to move forward, to progress, they need to take initiative. They
Mm.
need to volunteer for those jobs that nobody wants to take.
You have to take
They
it up.
take it, and you'll be surprised on where you end up. You
Yeah.
would learn so much,
Mm,
and I think that is information that most managers don't know.
mm,
The only way up is by volunteering and putting yourself out there and allowing yourself to learn,
mm.
and you will eventually get to
Yeah.
where you're going.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah. Sometimes when people are transitioning into new roles, that is the first thing that happens to that imposter syndrome. You'll be like, oh, are they going to think that I'm fake? Are they going to think that, oh, I'm
Yes,
just
yes, indeed.
coming into this thing? But the truth is that the experiences you had before can easily be transferable, and you can easily transfer those experiences. It might not even be maybe project management, it might be any other profession. Definitely the experience you have before, it might be, if for new graduates, it might be the experience they had in school with their lecturer and whatnot,
Of
that
course.
we start that journey with them. So that imposter syndrome is a really big deal that people really need to work on, and create that mindset shift to know that yes, I can do this thing,
Yeah,
and yeah, to make them thrive in it.
totally.
Yeah.
And just to add to that, I think that when it comes to being a fresh project manager, they need to understand that it's not a race.
Mm,
It's a marathon, right?
yeah.
And I know that we've heard that many times before. It's cliche, but
Mm,
it is true.
yeah, it's true.
They say 1,000 miles starts with a step,
Mm,
and at the end of the day, I think project management is something that you learn,
mm,
and you just need to be patient.
yeah.
Especially in the industry where I find myself.
Mm,
I'm sure it's probably the same in some other industries for
mm,
sure, but construction project management is something that you learn over time. You don't just learn it a day.
yeah.
You need to be on the site. You need to understand the building systems,
Mm,
and eventually you become an expert. And
yeah.
that's how it works.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. So, what is a question about career growth that people don't ask, but they need to be asking?
Right. In today's age, many people are found wanting things now,
Mm,
right? Wanting things now, and no one's thinking about. Maybe they might be thinking about tomorrow. Maybe they might be thinking about next month,
mm.
but no one is thinking about what's happening in the next 5 or 10
10
years.
years. Yeah.
And a question I think is pertinent to this time is, what can I learn now
Mm,
that will be beneficial to my career
in the
five,
future.
10 years
Yeah.
from now? And most often than not, people are not asking those questions.
Mm,
People are thinking about, oh, uh, what is my paycheck? What
mm,
am I getting paid next week? Or,
mm,
that kind of thing. But
yeah.
at the end of the day, if we can think about
The
how we can
future.
invest in our lives today
Mm,
for the future, that can make a huge difference.
yeah.
It could be something simple as, learning IT technical skills,
Mm,
positioning yourself
mm,
to transition into a similar type role.
yeah.
It could be the art of storytelling,
Yeah.
leadership opportunities.
Mm,
I was privileged to work with the city of Calgary, and I know fully well that if you wanted to apply for a leadership position within the city, it would be good if you took some leadership
Courses. Yeah.
courses, right? And at the end of the day, that would be taken into account whenever you applied for an internal
Yeah.
leadership role. And same is true for our lives in general.
Mm.
Some people think that you need to take a crash course or you
Mm.
need to go for a boot camp,
Mm.
but no, you can take a course that will last 5 years.
Mm.
Just pace yourself, and as long as you pace yourself, you're making progress. You will eventually get to where you're going to,
Yeah.
because when the time comes, you would probably have that diploma, you probably would have that
Mm.
degree, and you can apply for the role, and most likely you will
Yeah.
get it. So
Yeah.
that's my advice, that you try to learn now so that you can have the experience of vertical on 5, 10 years from now. And I think that's something that not too many people are thinking about right now.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. I know so many times that even in my career as a career coach, uh, some it's not fine. I have expertise in project management because I'm a project manager. But sometimes I talk to people that are not project management, but maybe
Mm-hmm.
because I've taken one course or one class one time, and it will give me a little bit understanding about what that person in another profession is
Right.
actually saying. So yeah, so it's not just about focusing on one thing that you are doing, but trying to learn, trying to understand, trying to take on those, especially maybe leadership courses. If you are looking at going into senior management level,
Oh yeah.
definitely you cannot be in one stage. You
Yeah.
want that growth, want that promotion.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you now start hearing, oh, this person is more equipped than you just
Yeah.
because the person have taken an extra course.
Yeah.
Both of you have 10 years experience and whatnot,
Yeah.
but they are,
True.
yeah.
True.
So it makes sense trying to build yourself, looking at 5 years from now, 10 years from now, where do I want to be?
Mhm.
And that will guide your path, guide how you are planning, how you are doing things, and
Oh
to
yeah.
be able to reach your goal.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah.
I think we're too stuck on today. We're too stuck on not considering or beginning with the end in mind.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if we start with the end in mind, we will definitely, plan out the years, and
Yeah.
we will be more detailed about what the results should look like.
Mm.
So,
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for that. So, how can people get their hands on this book, Your Career Path? How can people get the book?
oh yeah, the book right now is on Amazon. That's the only platform that it's on right now, and we also have a workbook that comes with it,
Mm.
a
Yeah.
workbook which uh, is basically used to help with the assessment,
Okay.
right? So it comes hand in hand. It's all is on Amazon right now, and if anyone wants to pick a copy, it's
Yeah,
there.
I'm going to
Yeah.
link the in the description. I'm going to
Okay.
put the link
Okay.
so that people that want the book can easily click on the link to get the book.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask a full question. I like to call this aspect rapid fire round.
Okay.
Just ask question and short answer just for people to have something like a takeaway for people. So the first one is, name what one career myth you love to bust. Like, do you have any?
Yeah, I think that this would be similar to a question that I answered earlier, which is being stuck.
Mm.
You know, writing this book, I realized that many people, many people, be it mid-career individuals, people who are CEOs,
Mm.
top individuals, including people who are just starting off, great celebrities, people who have accomplished so much, they all feel stuck.
Mm.
And this reality was made clear to me as I began to put information together
Together.
regarding this book.
Mm.
And I think that was a big eye opener for me, because it just clearly showed that we're all human beings,
Yeah.
and we all have. And I think that was a big eye opener for me, because it just clearly showed that we're all human beings,
Yeah.
and we all have, we all feel, we all have hearts.
Mm.
And at the end of the day, uh, if someone else has been able to go down that path, if someone else has been able to succeed in this path, then why can't you?
You can. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that for me was an eye opener.
Okay. So the next one is best book aside yours that you have written, that shaped your career thinking?
Yes, thank you so much for that question. I have there are lots of books that I like, but one that stands out for me is one which I read when I was studying at the University of Newcastle, and the name of the book is The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People,
Mm,
and it's written by a gentleman called Steve Covey.
mm,
And for me, that is an exceptional book because even beyond school education and even in the workplace, it seemed to be so relevant.
mm,
It was relevant then as it is relevant right
right
now
now.
because there are many times when I actually go back to that book to check and find out more information.
Mm,
Basically, the book lists a number of habits,
yeah.
and one of those habits is the second, which is begin with the end in mind,
Mm,
which is very, very important to me.
important there.
Begin with the end in mind.
Yeah.
And that is very, very relevant to project managers today because many times we just stumble into uh, aspects of work without really preparing.
Mm,
And that is the highlight of a project manager planning,
mm,
being able to see the vision to reality of a project right from the
from the
start.
start. Yeah.
And that book in itself focuses on values,
Mm,
character, but at the end of the day, one thing that has been established is that internal mastery is what eventually leads to external achievements.
mm,
And if you are able to master your own self, if you're able to establish yourself in such a way that you're creating a person who is highly effective,
mm,
I believe that success will definitely come your way,
mm,
particularly in terms of projects. So yeah,
mm.
that's one of the best books that I've read.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. The last question for the rapid fire round. What is the most surprising thing you learned while writing your book?
The most surprising thing that I learned while I was writing my book is the fact that people remain people,
Mhm.
and I know that sounds very cliche, but the fact that we all sometimes feel like we could do better, we could do better than what we're doing. There is that feeling of, oh, I'm not doing as good as I should be. You
Mm.
know, I could do much better than
Yeah.
where I am right now. And it is a universal feeling. Just like
Mm,
sometimes you feel lost and
mm,
whatnot, the guilt, guilty conscience
mm,
of not being the best that you can be
yeah.
is common to everyone.
Mm,
And I think that that became more apparent to me as I wrote that. And it has been the case for a very long time. The fact that we all want to do better, we all want to accomplish something great and all that is common to all of us. And I think that that is something that surprised me
mm,
to know that each and every one of us feel the exact same way,
mm,
you know. So
yeah.
that was it for me.
Yeah. Thank you very much. This has been a wonderful conversation from the beginning to the end. I'm learning so many things, so many value. One thing that really stuck with me from all the discussion, like the takeaway for me will be the fact that your career path is not a ladder, is a landscape. Like it really stood out for me that if you are looking at it that is a ladder, when you get to the top of the ladder, what else? Do you want to jump down or you just want to stay
Still
there?
there, yeah.
But if you see it as a landscape, you know that you continue going and you continue growing and growing till even when you retire, you're still growing, you're still
Exactly.
you're still
So much
learning.
land.
You're still learning. Yeah. What's an insightful conversation that we have had today. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. And like I said, I'm going to link the in the description. I'm going to put the link to the Amazon link for the book so that you can get a copy of the book. And thank you once again for coming and for sharing your story
Right,
with me today.
right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Adi, for having me. I really appreciate the fact that you've allowed me to use this platform to talk about my experience on my book.
Yeah.
Well appreciated.
Thank you so much. Thank you, viewers. Thank you for watching and for listening. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel and also share with other people so that they can also learn from this journey. Thank you so much and see you in the next episode. Bye.